Hello, my name is Taylor Wyatt. I've never considered myself to be a creative person. However, that's in large part because I've never really thought about what creativity means. And moreover, I haven't really considered how my own background might have framed my thoughts about creativity. My educational background is in literature studies, philosophy, and rhetoric, a very traditional humanities background. The work I produced in school was almost always written academic prose. As strange as it sounds, I hadn't considered my writing to be creative. I viewed my writing as controlled and professional. I was following conventions of specific fields and disciplines to develop a serious academic argument. My understanding about creativity was impacted further through my family's artistry. My father is a visual artist, and my wife is a poet. Recently, I have started to think about what creativity means and identify differences of creativity and artistry. My inquiry led me to Ken Robinson's famous TED Talk, Do Schools Kill Creativity? His talk calls attention to the fear kids have of being wrong in school systems. Educational systems encourage and reward fitting in the box. This fear can impact how students think about themselves and the work they engage in. One line of Robinson's talk stuck with me long after my viewing was finished. He says, quote, "If you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original." Quote, "Creativity thus requires a willingness to get things wrong on occasion." Another way to think of this quote is, perfection shouldn't be the goal of education systems. Valuing the imperfect calls the Japanese philosophic concept wabi-sabi to mind. The term comes from tea ceremony practices in Japan. Leonard Corinne defines the concept succinctly with the opening lines of his book, Wabi Sabi for Artists, Designers, Poets, and Philosophers. He writes, quote, "Wabi Sabi is the beauty of things imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. It is a beauty of things modest and humble. It is a beauty of things unconventional." Quote. Creativity thus has a lot in common with the concept of wabi sabi. Making mistakes becomes a positive action. The mistakes can be a fostering of development and a beauty for their own sake. Thinking about wabi sabi has impacted how I think about my own writing, my own creativity. I'm a composition instructor for first year students. Since I started teaching a few years ago, my thoughts about the impacts of education have developed. If typical trends continue, my students may retire in the 2070s, a date that feels strange to say aloud, let alone imagine what that professional world will look like. The world isn't permanent. Things are always changing. Valuing the mistakes made in learning better enables creativity in the classroom.